An important part of test-driven development is that it is design. You are designing your internal API. And in this session, you'll see that I got some earlier designs wrong. Now, we didn't discover it until later. So now it's time to go back and fix up the old stuff so that we can do what we really want to do, the new stuff. Welcome back for another 90 minutes of live coding, live exploration, live interactions, live mistakes. This is the Quality Coding live stream where we are doing test-driven development with SwiftUI. Welcome to the usual gang who starts us off, including, as always, Mudshark and whoever else is lurking. Welcome. For those of you who are watching after the fact, I've noticed a fair number of people watch on Twitch, which is good. Nothing wrong with that. The only problem is that it disappears after however long. Like 2 weeks or something. So if you ever want to go back and look at stuff that's not there, that's on my YouTube channel right there at Quality Coding. And for those who are watching on YouTube, hey, glad to have you. Stick around. If you like what you see even for a little bit, give it a like and add a comment. All right. Let's see here. Starting off with our review of last time. I mentioned the book Elegant Objects. I just finished that. It is, again, it's a cranky book. It's a highly opinionated book. I think that even if you don't take everything it says, anyone who wants to do object-oriented programming should read it. Yeah. Elephant objects. Last time we created a test hook. I haven't written about this yet, but one thing I wanted to mention about it that I will put in my blog post is the potential for abuse. And particularly, I think that if you want to abuse test hooks, which are a way to access privates that we explored last time, if you want to abuse this, then you should expose your methods. But if you don't want to abuse it, you should only expose private properties that you want to peer at to see if a state change took place. But don't expose private methods. Okay? And if you, don't test your privates. They're there to help you get other stuff done. Test the stuff. And if it's still tricky, that means there's another object inside trying to get out. Let it be free. Set it free to be its own object, and then you can test it to its heart's content. What else did we have? Build must check. Release build succeeds. Oh, right. That's, I should maybe, that's if you have poundif debug. If you have anything that's poundif debug, which we used for our test hook, test hooks, then your build server needs to check release builds at some point. And as we did that, we had to make sure that the build server fails, right? Learned about multi-cursor selection using Control-Shift, and that was especially handy for the code snippet we made. If you want test hooks as a code snippet, I'll be publishing that. Well, I have to think about how much I want to blog. Now that I've got the blogging itch again, now that I'm done with the anxiety of searching for a new job, there's a lot I want to write about. I have to consider, I'm trying to hit an every other week cadence. So, all right, and we're set up for this time's retro, and we should put in notes as we go. The last time, we did some refactoring to hide properties, and we did that for secret feedback pigs. It looks like we did game. Now, I'm thinking about game. I don't think I want to bother with a test hook with game. And let me show you why. The game screen. Oh, wait, game. Game itself. Here, I thought we were talking about the game screen, and I was going to say the game screen isn't a domain model. It's UI stuff, and there's nothing that's going to call it other than the thing that shows the game screen. But I forgot about the game itself. Oh, there is stuff that is exposed in here. Some maybe should be exposed, some maybe shouldn't be exposed. All right. Let's continue there then. Let's explore this for now to see what we can hide. And the purpose of hiding properties came about because I discovered that by leaving a property not private, the API got sloppy. And when the API got sloppy, it was easy for responsibilities to shift to where they didn't belong. So let's take a look at game. And let's see what we can do here. Okay, so the secret maker is private. The secret size let's see what happens when we make that private, and I attempt a build. Now this should, oh, oh, all right. What's using this? Anything? That's using it. Okay. All right. Hey, success. This is a very low risk refactoring. I'll make the property private. Next, code choices. Let's see what happens. And particularly who complains. So the code choices seems to be an important property to leave exposed. It's the thing that says, what are your options to choose from? That seems valuable. Yes. So let's discard that. Guess. The guess itself is also used by the game screen. Let's see how. Okay. I don't like that it's exposed as a var. that we have basically a naked var. Does that test need to be on game? Which test? That's the thing. Oh, so let's go back. So if we come here, I think this is what you're talking about. This is why. So is this what you mean? This turns a for each of the code, game code choices going last to first to go backwards. Yeah, not a test. It is ... which makes me wonder. And yet the last to first thing, it's only how to do this. There's nothing inherent in the game that the choices are last to first. That's only for rendering the UI and only because of our VStack and how we're doing things. So I'm inclined to let this be, even though we have two dots in a row. Dot there and a dot there. What do you think? I don't want to be super rigid about the law of Demeter. As some people say, the suggestion of Demeter. But I do want to lean into it. But this seems okay. It's like maybe there's a hidden object that's hard to express, which is the game we need for Swift UI. Yeah. Guest gets updated. The secret. Who needs to know the secret? Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it. Secret is also accessed from the game screen. So far, that's the only place. I'm going to leave that. These definitely look like they were in there to help the law of Demeter because they're just delegating to inner objects. I don't know. I feel like there's more to do here. The fact that is complete is out here and yet guess is still exposed is kind of funny. Or that is win is out here, but the secret is still exposed. Still funny. My hunch. My hunch is that maybe there are multiple objects. But it's hard to see it still. Environment vars? Except, I mean, in the sense of there's a game in play. And you don't have more than one game. You always have the one you're playing. Not sure how to really tighten this in a good way. I'm not sure. Because I'm not sure, I'm happy to come back to it. Basically punt it for now. maybe sleep on it, other choices will become more apparent. Let me just do a quick review. Like the choices. Maybe this should be let me lean into it instead of just waving my hand. We make this private and then expose this. So let's see what we can do here. Call it I don't know. We paste it in and fix it up. Hello. Am I still looking at the wrong thing? Yeah, this is on game screen. Okay. I think I need to move this. It's funny though. I tried basically to express it here in the UI part. Yeah, I'm bumping up against this again. It's like, what's it for? Okay, giving up. That's too long. Let's move on. Gonna call this a punt. Purple is for punt. I'm really more eager to get to these other things. Get back to our feedback pegs. Oh, we were doing test-driven development on the feedback pegs itself. Let's go take a look at that and refresh our memories. We have the Swift test. Oh. The with parameters that the number of pegs is the code length. And now, okay. Whiplash a little bit. Sorry about that, but these, coding doesn't align all the time. It's very rare that coding chunks align with these 90-minute sessions. Hey, welcome other folks who have joined. All right, so we were doing, let's get back to test-driven development on the feedback pegs, where these are this is our test list. So initially both empty. Let's see what we can do. What does this mean? What is feedback pegs? Let's keep that up. Feedback pegs is nothing but a secret. So there are no pegs yet. Okay. All right. Then it's time to continue and try to express what it means. So if I create let me try from the assertion backwards. Feedback pegs. Yeah. I feel like that's what I want. Something like that. Initially both empty. This is secret code of red and green, just have two of them. So if we create feedback pegs with a secret code of two things, they should initially both the pegs should be empty. That looks like a fine test. Now let's frame it up and create some. Oh, thank you. I knew it looked funny. At test. Okay, so to frame it up, we need, when drawn this way, we're going to end up with an array of enumerations. That seems sensible. Oh, it's putting it down for us. You know what? Let's accept it. Feedback pegs. What's a good name for this? Maybe it should be. Yeah, I'll just keep it that way. So this will be not a struct, and enum, feedback pegs. I want just something else besides empty. Going away, kind of stepping back from strict TDD, I still want to see this fail, but I believe this will pass right now. And this feels more like TCR to me. In TCR, the tests don't fail except temporarily. To see it fail, that's easy enough. I can just repeat applesauce, and this will fail saying applesauce is not equal to empty, empty. applesauce not is equal to empty, empty, but it got, oh wait, how to read this? Expectation failed. Pegs. Oh, okay. So I'm still getting used to how assertion failures read in Swift testing. Remembering that this whole thing is an expression, and that's what we're seeing. We have the left-hand side of the expression, applesauce, applesauce, and the right-hand side, empty, empty. But with that, I am happy. And we have our initial empty. This is a new feature, but it's small. And that's done. Next, we want to show a perfect match for a guess. So this will introduce the concept of a guess in the guess. Should it say both? There may be more pegs. Yeah. I agree. This will be confusing. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah, good enough. All right, next we want to show perfect match for a guess. So the guess is going to be a parameter. So let us oops. I have to remember which one to take here. We could, but I kind of like having a test clearly say this is for a perfect match. At least to start with. So this is going to be like this. Now, I don't know what to name this. Let's start with red, green, and we need a guess. Okay, it's going to fill in some things here. That seems pretty good. And it needs not bad. Close, but no cigar. I like it. Correct. Let's go back to Mastermind Game and see what it says here. Correct in both color and position. So the really wordy way to do this would be something like that. Maybe not bad. The feedback pegs evaluate a guess and update the pegs. That seems decent. Because the feedback pegs always have the pegs, even before any guess is evaluated. So I like that. Let's now frame this up. So it's going to take a guess and have nothing. We'll just do it like that. And this should fail. Empty, empty. Good. To get this to pass, the easiest thing is the dumbest thing. Pegs needs to become something we can update now. So why don't we change this to a some private like that. Did we not add an evaluate function that return? So there is an evaluate function that oh shoot, you're right. Thank you. We don't want to evaluate the guess. We want to evaluate what we've already figured out. The feedback. Thank you. So this is doggone. This is great. The design is all wrong. Love it. Love it. The guess and the secret don't come into play here, except for the number of pegs. That's the only thing that matters. The rest should be this feedback thing, which we've already figured out. Thank you. Okay. So this is wrong. The test is wrong. It's not evaluate feedback. It's more like it's more like update the UI, where feedback is like that. Incorrect position. I kind of wish I didn't have to That the feedback itself was enough. Yeah, to make sure to that alone ensured, like, okay, we got correct, wrong position, and empties. All right. This is changing. I like it. Let me revert. Revert. Let's do this design correctly. Fix it up. So these are wrong. Haha. Back we go. I would have figured this out eventually, but it would have taken longer. And that's why having multiple minds coding together gets stuff done faster, because we're bright coders, and we also know to ask for help. But what if you didn't ask for help? What if help came to you before you asked for it? Hello, Snoopy Man. Welcome, first time chatter. You know me by name. I'm wondering if I know you. All right, so this design is all wrong. Wow. Test-driven development is super important. All right, this goes back. Nope. Back. This is incorrect. Okay. So we are working on a game of Mastermind. I'll show you somebody's version of the game where there's a secret code hidden under here, which is a mixture, a shuffling of these colors. And if I guess like this, brown is in here somewhere. So it's going to say, I got one right. Oh, here on this guess, I got a feedback that one is in the correct position and one color is in the matching but in the incorrect position, which is not a surprise. So we're working on the feedback pegs right now. We've already calculated, and this is what I forgot. We already have feedback that we've calculated from somewhere about by taking the secret and the guess and determining what's in the correct position, what's in the wrong position. And it looks like the feedback itself is not everything we need. That it should have maybe the total count in the feedback. Let's see. All right. So back here, what we want instead of all this fussing about is sort of the secret size or the feedback count. Maybe I'll make this a new test. Don't know about the name yet, but let's do it right. And I do expect this to be parameterized. What's wrong is that we shouldn't pass in the secret, we should pass in feedback. Incorrect position, in wrong position, those don't matter. We're missing something of like the count, total count. Yes. All right. Let's fix this up. And let me actually comment these out. What an interesting discovery. So the first thing we need is, excuse me, that total count needs to go into feedback. Like that. Thank you, GitHub Copilot. GitHub Copilot is now free if you're working on an open source thing, which is nice because I just got, I thought well, my last client, which used Copilot and other AI, which was nice. They kept me in their organization until a few days ago. So I was just piggybacking on them. Thank you. But now the time has come for feedback pegs. Okay, so this is wrong. This will do something. And this will be, we're just wiping everything out here. You know, we'll come back to the pegs. I'll leave those there. Okay, so hopefully this fails. Doesn't even build. It doesn't build because, the secret itself. Shoot, the secret's going to have to return the right information. Ooh, boo, boo, boo. This is getting bigger. Secret. passes back total in feedback. That's something we have to do, and this is all part of number of pegs. Hello, Johannes. Welcome. First time chatter. We are working on a game of Mastermind. This is not mine. This is somebody else's. We are working on the feedback pegs. And discovering, we're doing test-driven development and discovering that the design was wrong. So let's see. If I set this up here. And this is a discovery tree. It's a way of visualizing work that is much better than test-driven development. Is it boring? I've been doing test-driven development for well over 20 years. More like 23 years, I think. So it's how I code. It's just how I code. And I find it very exciting. If you find it boring, I'm curious to learn what your experience with TDD has been. And I suspect that there are ways to make it better. Yeah. Feel free to share that in the chat. All right. So I'm going to have to do this. I feel like I should do the upstream count first. If I get everything right, it would be super easy. Console log driven development, ego driven development, and prayer driven. Now, let me mention about console log driven development. What you're doing with logging is getting feedback, which is great. That's what I'm doing with tests. Except I'm setting up the tests, a test first to give me feedback, and then the thing with a console log is you have to check it with your eyes. Why not automate it? I'm lazy. And so the idea is, let's take the same idea of, make a change and see what it does in the logs, and let's automate that so that we can, we're no longer dependent on, I have to check this log and that log and the other thing to pray that it will all work together. All right. We've got all sorts of things broken now. Woo! I'm going to get rid of these. These tests were wrong. One of the great things about test-driven development is you finding out that your test was wrong. And I'm going to leave this. We'll come back to it. Let's pass the secret correctly in the feedback right now. Has to be allowed? Okay, so I think I get what you're saying, Johannes, but at the same time, I'll share that with the exception of, with a very small exception, no employer asked me to do TDD. I did it anyway. You don't ask your manager for permission to use a for loop, right? Or to do console logging. You do it because it helps you. So don't ask. Yeah, avoid mocking. Mocking is overrated. It can be very, very important and necessary, but it is also overrated. All right. I'm just going to get this to pass by filling in a total count of something silly. And this is now getting too big, so let me correct it like that. We should be back to green. I've been out of green for a long time now. And this is just getting really messy as we're discovered the incorrect design, having to go back, patch up this struct. So let's now do this. It's also it's true, mocking is for legacy code, but it's also for anything you can't, any dependency you can't control. Oh, I feel for you. If employers think that writing a test, this is something I've given presentations about because I was trying to convince my employer that this is a good idea, where I would talk about the time to be done, the time for a individual programmer to say, I'm done. Well, that's faster if you write less code, right? And writing tests is a lot more code. But that measuring that is not important. Measuring how soon can we ship this with no defects? That's important. And on that, automated testing definitely saves time. Without a doubt. Done. I'm done. Yes, but is it done? Yeah. Well, yeah, but is it done? Well, it's not done. Oh, yeah. I feel your pain, Johannes. Okay, we are patching things up. This is kind of a mess. But it is still test-supported procedural factoring, medium risk. That's what the dash is. So, except it's more like a feature. Okay, I'm going to say this is a feature, and it's fairly big, which increases the risk. Add total count to feedback. Now, in our feedback, in the secret, we should find the secret tests. Are we not? Where's our feedback tests? There we go. Curiously, the feedback tests continued to pass, even though we added an extra field to the feedback because we weren't checking it. Now, one way that we could have forced this. Oh, Johannes, you're in the right place. We are actually in a in a SwiftUI app. We just happen to be doing, we're not in the Swift UI part right now. So we are in fooling around doing TDD up here. We also do TDD in the UI. So you found the right place if you're interested in that. If you want to see my older recordings, older than what you'll find on Twitch, my YouTube channel is at Quality Coding. And my blog. Check out, here, I'll show you. On my blog, which is this, my latest blog post was starting. I decided to go with something simpler than Mastermind to make a counter app. So this is the beginning of the challenge of how would you even unit test this? Should we even unit test this? What parts of it would you like to test? What parts of it maybe should we not automate? And that's the big question to kick off this series. Hi, first time chatter, the liver. Swift is one of those languages I really like, but unfortunately don't have tremendously a lot of use cases for. Oh, Xcode, please. I'm trying to go. Liver's not useless. You're just a poison sucker, huh? Oh yeah. If you want beginner friendly stuff about Swift UI in general, definitely Hacking with Swift. He won't talk about unit testing Swift UI though. That's where I come in. So depending on what you want to learn. Yeah, so this series is going to start with something much simpler than Mastermind. And there'll be more posts coming on this shortly. I just don't want to suddenly overwhelm myself posting a lot. So what platform or platforms do you write for, the liver? Since you get to be free of Xcode. Respect. So these tests continue to pass, which is not bad. I kind of like that they continue to pass. Some people would rather have, like, say, oh, I added a new field. I want to use equality. It's like, yeah. Then you have to break everything all at once. I kind of like moving in small steps. I don't kind of like moving in small steps. I really like moving in small steps. So in this case, though, we can start to fill this in. Red, green, green, red. These are all 2s. I want another thing about feedback. Interesting. The feedback currently comes from evaluating a guess, but it doesn't include the secret, which has the size. Well, the guess size does have to match, but there's no way to get to create a feedback without a guess at this moment. Right? Vim. I mean, nice thing about Vim, small, light, fast, works on everything. Cool. Um, but maybe I'm out of touch, but it's just a text editor. And I want something that is an abstraction above editing text. Xcode is only a very thin abstraction in that it includes code, completion, but it's pretty thin. I still haven't made an app code thing. Smalltalk was the most amazing system I've used on where you really have the whole system at your fingertips. If you got Vim tips, so you can heavily modify it. Sorry, just catching up here. Oh, you do server-side stuff, meaning you talk remotely to a server. Yeah, I getcha. Potato. Oh, you mean potato powered? You have to get a fresh potato every day. You crack me up. You crack me up. Okay, so there's a secret. You can get feedback from a guess. I feel like we should be able to get, if there's a secret, I should be able to get initial feedback on it as well. Which it already has a secret in here, doesn't it? Didn't it? I mean, oh, it is the secret. Okay. This is getting really, really interesting. Technical debt. Let me mention tech debt because it came up. It is widely misunderstood, I think, to mean stuff that's broken or maybe old stuff that is out of date. You know, we've got security vulnerabilities on something because we're using an old version. I mean, obviously that is a type of technical debt, but that's not the original intent of technical debt. For that, I refer you to Ward Cunningham's Ward, who came up with the term because he was working for a financial institution and spoke in terms of debt to make it clear why he was spending time refactoring. And the goal of debt, naming stuff correctly, that's a big one. As Ward described it, is so that our understanding of the code is always reflected. Our understanding of the domain is always, our current understanding of the domain is always reflected in the code. And as our understanding grows, as it is right now, we need to go back and rework things. The goal is that, he says, it looks like we always meant to do it that way and that it was easy. Look for Ward coming in technical debt. Where's here we go. Debt metaphor. I'm gonna copy that. Woo! What the heck? Here it is.
Tired of
Watch that. Not right now. Click it so you open it and then you can watch it later. Well, you can go watch it now. You can just mute me. Okay. So it seems, and let me make sure to note these things. We need another test on feedback tests. The SUT itself is a secret here, which is a little funny. Hey, two dinosaurs. Let's make a new test. And this is going to be total count is secret size. You know, I kind of like. Glad you're sticking around. That's it. And of course, come and go as you like. Obviously, this is your time. You know, I kind of like having the @test annotation on its own line because then it's easy to add stuff to, like parameters, without redoing it. Note that. That's the continuous retro happening there on the Miro board. Okay, so I want to expect the feedback total count to be equal to 2 to start with. Sure. It's not evaluating a guess. It's the initial something like that. Okay, we're doing test-driven development here, which means we are designing the API. The test itself is the first consumer of our internal API, and we have to look at things critically, and that's why sometimes we go back and say, shoot, we got it wrong. Johannes, I do Android dev for a local company. I've been doing it for almost 1.5 years. I'm very junior, as you can guess. Wanted to progress with Android dev, but it looks like a broad ecosystem. Now I'm thinking of juggling Swift UI so I can do both as a career. I'm not sure where to start with iOS dev, though. Well, except getting a Mac. That is a prerequisite. And it's an expensive prerequisite because to get a Mac that runs Xcode, you're going to need, more than anything, you're going to need RAM. 16 gig minimum. Process, the chip itself, obviously newer chips are better, but it's the RAM that is the most essential thing. Switch to React, yeah. So I kind of like this. It's a little funny that we get initial feedback and then we get feedback from evaluate a guess, evaluating a guess. But let's roll with it. I have a question for you, John, and chat. I started to use the approach you present here in one of my personal projects. The current bottleneck I'm facing is the inability to test asynchronous code using View Inspector. For instance, if one of my buttons from the view starts a task and changes the view state in the task's body, I can't verify that the view is updated correctly. So firing off a task, there are two things I would recommend. First is make sure, and I'll be blogging about this with the Counter app when we look at the game screen tests. If you look, and this is testing SwiftUI, the first few tests of the game screen, just make the game screen, I should have a make SUT, and check stuff on it. But anything that updates, you're going to want to inspect the changing view. There's a way to do this in View Inspector. Inspect changing view is my helper to make it easier to with the boilerplate. Here we go. So this is one thing I would prefer. The other thing for something that is asynchronous, don't protect the main branch, is that you expect something to eventually equal a result. How to use those in combination, I have no idea. And it could be, as Munchark says, that maybe that is misplaced, and that your view model, if you don't have a view model yet, or something outside, it's not exactly a view model, because a view model doesn't do work. It just updates stuff. Something outside of the view that is handling the task, the asynchrony, that would be easier to test. Yeah. So I'd like to learn more about this. Can you hit me up, to Dinosaurus? Send me a message. If nothing else, you can go to my website and go to the very bottom and contact. Okay, and just fill in the form. Feel free to ping me through other means. But I'd like to learn more about this. It sounds interesting. M1 8 gigs is not big enough for Xcode. It just isn't. Not if you're going to do anything meaningful. All right. We are still back here, still trying to pass in the secret. Okay, so we're back here. Great discussions. I love it. Let us create an initial feedback. that might be correct. So I want to comment it out. I just want to make sure that we're able to get things to... I got 2 failing tests. Why? Okay, this one is the one I expected. Oh, we've got a ghost error there. Okay, the more ghost errors. Thank you, Xcode. Let us clear test results and try again. Thank you. Okay, so simplest, dumbest way to get this to pass. We get to green as fast as we can. Yeah, no, it's not an interruption. I do this not just to code, right? The goal is to have fun and learn together. Xcode doesn't have a clue what Android Studio can do. All right, so this is secret set provides initial feedback, which is still being triangulated. With that, I want another one, red, green, blue. Let's parameterize this. So we're going to have a code, which is the code choice. Yikes. Okay, I don't remember how to how to do this. That's not how you do it? What? I'm trying to parameterize this. I know I've done this before. Matching word. Come on. Come on, we've got a parameterized test. Where was that? Where is it? Where's... Oh, it was here. I got rid of it. I'm gonna have to remember how to do this again. Okay. That's okay. We'll do this. So, I don't remember. I don't remember. No, not that one. arguments is an array of gone. Hang on a second. Let's go to these changes. Here we go. Test. Arguments. Array of tuple. Okay. We'll get there. Yeah, we do have to be extra careful not to redraw a lot. Hey, you know what a humble object is. Good for you. Okay, so we are in here and we want to pass in an array of stuff. The first stuff is red, green, and the second stuff is red, green, blue. Oh, except we also need an expectation with that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's do many of one. So this is the code, which is code choice. And this is the expected count, which is an integer. And these can't be used here. You got to come out. Learn that. So right now, this will continue to pass because we're not using the arguments, but hopefully Swift testing doesn't scream at us. Yeah, thank you. So now I should be able to say this is the code, and this is the expected count. Okay, so that's many of one. Many of one parameterization again. And now I can supply a different one. And this will fail, saying for the to case, where's that show? Thank you, there it is. The to case is failing. So now we come into the initial feedback and say, what if it is the code count? which is the same as size, the secret size. And now I expect it to pass. And this is triangulation. It's a TDD technique. Thank you for calling that out. Good. Okay. Phew, this has been a lot of rework, and we're not even done yet. But let me get this in. This is secret All right. So we did this. All that was to make sure this secret passes back the total in feedback. Ooh, we're not done. We're not done. I have two of these. Use total in feedback for the pegs. The thing that's not done down here is that this should also come on the evaluate. Of evaluating the guess, and we haven't done that. Hello, Z Creeper TV, first time chatter. All right, that is it. We are at time. I keep these at 90 minutes, these sessions, so that I don't lose my mind, because at this point, we've well exceeded a single Pomodoro of a 25-minute timer, and I don't want to take breaks in the middle of these streams. Also, my bladder. As you get older, your bladder becomes a very helpful built-in Pomodoro timer. How about that? Let's finish off with our retro. What else did we do or discover? We also had good discussions. Fixing up the design is hard, but very important. Touched on what technical debt is. That is that it should look like the code you wrote, that you meant to write it that way, and that it was easy. That is what tech debt is. At test on its own line, another parameterized test. Anything else? Other thoughts about this session and maybe the discovery tree? As we do work, we discover the work. And this fixing up the poor design, yikes, it's cost us. But it's good. Do you need to update the test file script? I think I saw that it put test and func on the same line. So the snippet I've been using. Let's find these. Yeah, I've been using Apple's built-in one. And maybe I need my own, where it comes out like this instead. I think I would like that. So I'm just going to leave this up here so I can get back to it easily enough. All right. Then that is a wrap for this week. Thank you for coming, for playing, for participating, for chatting, even for watching and lurking. I appreciate you. YouTubers, thank you for joining in. Definitely give it a like. Leave a comment about anything you observed or any questions you have. To Dinosaurus, definitely send me a note. I'd love to explore that space with you. It sounds like something I haven't done yet, and so maybe we can figure it out together. This is where to follow me, where to find me on the socials. That's my book. It has no Swift UI in it or Swift testing, but is the inspiration for what we are doing now. Do check out my blog. That is where you will start to see more Swift UI, test-driven development for Swift UI posts starting to appear. Thank you for coming. Take care of yourself. Be safe. Be good. And I will see you next week.